the doll that whispered. It was a warm Saturday afternoon when Maria found herself browsing through an old, dusty antique shop on the edge of town. Her daughter, Lily, was turning 8 the next day, and Maria wanted to get her something special, something different. As she wandered through the dimly lit store, her eyes fell upon a doll sitting on a high shelf. It was beautiful, about the size of a small child, with porcelain skin, wide glassy eyes, and golden curls that framed its delicate face. The doll wore a faded blue dress, adorned with tiny lace flowers. Though it looked quite old, there was something enchanting about it, something that reminded Maria of her own childhood. The shopkeeper, a frail old man with silver hair and clouded eyes, noticed Maria's interest. "Oh, the doll," he said softly, his voice raspy. "Been sitting there for a long time. Not many ask about it. Are you sure this is the gift you want?" Maria smiled and nodded, ignoring the unease in his voice. "It's perfect for my daughter." The man hesitated for a moment, but then wrapped the doll in delicate tissue paper and placed it in a box. As Maria left the shop, the wind seemed to pick up, howling eerily as she walked to her car. She dismissed it as a coincidence. The next day, Lily was ecstatic when she unwrapped the doll. She immediately named it Sophie and carried it everywhere. The first few days were normal. Lily loved Sophie, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But then, the whispers started. Late at night, Maria would hear faint sounds coming from Lily's room, soft, unintelligible murmurs. At first, she thought it was just Lily talking in her sleep. But the whispers grew louder, and sometimes they came from the doll's direction, even when Lily was fast asleep. One night, Maria was in the kitchen washing dishes when she heard footsteps upstairs. Lily was supposed to be in bed. She wiped her hands, heading up to her daughter's room to check. As she reached the hallway, she froze. There, at the end of the corridor, was the door. Sophie was sitting upright against the wall, staring at her with those wide, unblinking eyes. Her heart skipped a beat. She called out, "Lily. Did you leave Sophie here?" Lily, half asleep, mumbled from her bed, "No, Mommy. Sophie stays in my room." With trembling hands, Maria picked up the doll and returned it to Lily's bedside. But the unease in her chest was growing. In the following days, things escalated. Lights flickered, cold drafts swept through the house, and doors creaked open by themselves. Maria often felt like she was being watched. Once, while cooking dinner, she turned to see Sophie sitting at the kitchen table, even though she had left her in Lily's room. She felt a chill run down her spine. She started questioning her own sanity, until one evening, Lily came to her, eyes wide with fear. "Mommy," she whispered, clutching Maria's arm, "Sophie talks to me at night. She says she's lonely. She wants to play, forever." Maria's heart raced. "What do you mean, honey?" Lily's lip quivered. "She moves when you're not looking. She tells me she's sad because her old mommy left her behind." That night, after Lily had gone to bed, Maria couldn't sleep. The house felt wrong, heavy, oppressive. At around midnight, she heard a crash from downstairs. She bolted upright, racing to the living room. There, in the middle of the floor, was Sophie, surrounded by shattered glass from a broken photo frame. That was the final straw. Maria grabbed the doll and stuffed it into a bag, determined to take it back to the shop first thing in the morning. But as she stood by the door, a voice whispered in her ear, soft yet cold, "She won't let you." She spun around, but no one was there. The next morning, Maria drove back to the antique shop, her hands shaking on the steering wheel. When she arrived, the shop looked different, older, more decrepit than before. The same old man was sitting behind the counter, as if he hadn't moved since she last saw him. "You've brought her back," he said, without looking up. Maria placed the doll on the counter, her voice shaky. "What is this thing? What have you sold me?" The old man sighed, looking tired. "That doll belonged to a little girl long ago. A tragic story, really. The girl loved Sophie more than anything, but one day, she drowned in the river behind her home. Her spirit attached itself to the doll. Sophie's been passed down, from house to house, ever since." Maria felt a chill crawl up her spine. "Why didn't you warn me?" He looked at her, his clouded eyes filled with sorrow. "Would you have believed me?" She opened her mouth to argue, but he was right. She wouldn't have. Not then. The old man carefully took the doll and placed it back on the high shelf, where it seemed to blend into the shadows. "Sophie's not evil," he said softly. "She's just lost. But you don't want her in your home." Without another word, Maria left the shop, vowing never to return. As she drove away, the town seemed brighter, lighter, as if a dark cloud had lifted. That night, for the first time in weeks, the house was still. The whispers were gone, the air no longer felt heavy, and Lily slept peacefully in her bed. But far away, in the dim light of the antique shop, Sophie sat on her shelf, her glassy eyes watching, waiting for someone else to take her home. And one day, they would.